Transformers Shattered Glass 2 is a continuation of the Shattered Glass storyline, set in an alternate universe where the roles of Autobots and Decepticons are reversed. The series focuses on the escalating conflict on Cybertron as both factions vie for control over the powerful Titan, Metroplex. So let's take a look at issue number 1. Optimus Prime may have amassed an army, toppled the Senate, and bent Cybertron to his twisted will, but none of this would have been possible without Ultra Magnus, who sees himself as the true power behind the throne. Once a quiet bureaucrat, Magnus became increasingly emboldened by Orion's rise to power. His knack for exploiting loopholes in Cybertronian law enabled Orion and the Autobots to stretch the boundaries of due process, making him an indispensable ally. Despite Senator Shockwave's attempt to warn Magnus that Orion is merely using him, Magnus takes offense at the suggestion. When Bumblebee interrupts with a new query from Orion, Shockwave, realizing that Magnus is too far gone, silently exits. In the present, Ultra Magnus and the Wreckers arrive at PAX gates, demanding an audience with Optimus Prime about recent developments. When Sunstreaker and World try to bar their entry, citing Autobot law, Magnus snaps that the law is whatever he says it is. Before the confrontation escalates, Optimus orders Sunstreaker to escort Magnus and one Wrecker, Jazz, to the throne room, leaving the rest of the team with a nervous whirl. As Orion's army grows, Magnus rises through the ranks until he's unexpectedly thrust into the spotlight when Orion appoints him as the public face of a new security unit tasked with maintaining order by any means necessary. Though Magnus initially objects, Orion reminds him that he's no longer the innocent bot he pretends to be, and secretly enjoys finding ways to circumvent the law. As Prime brushes Magnus's face, he warns that the emotionless hologram Magnus uses to hide his true face might crack one day from stress. Magnus briefs a disinterested Optimus on recent events. The reactivation of Metroplex has ignited a race among the 3 Autobot warlords to control the Titan, while the fall of Gold City has given Megatron and the Decepticons a chance to regain a foothold and potentially reignite the war. When Jazz reminds Optimus that Magnus and the Wreckers helped him seize Gold City, Prime's temper flares and he strikes Jazz across the room. When Shockwave later crosses paths with Magnus's private unit and criticizes Magnus's promotion, the situation escalates. Magnus tries to calm things down, but when Cup makes a snide remark, Magnus snaps. His calm facade shatters, literally, as he drops his hologram to reveal his true face, then takes down Impactor by viciously hurling Cup at him. Shockwave coldly questions whether Magnus truly wanted to stop the fight or if he was too afraid to admit he enjoyed the violence. When Wheeljack asks what they should do with Impactor, Magnus declares that it's time for real change. When Orion reprimands Magnus for dismissing Impactor and reorganizing the squad, Magnus reminds him that he's no longer the official leader. Magnus's new role includes the authority to remove uncooperative bots like Impactor from the newly formed Wreckers. Amused by Magnus's audacity, Orion decides to test him by involving him and the Wreckers in the next phase of his plan: a full-scale assault on the Senate. In the present, Magnus contemplates his role in the looming conflict. When Jazz sarcastically notes that Prime expects the Wreckers to fight Goldbug's Titan, Prowl's faction, and Megatron's Decepticons, Magnus decides it's time to reveal his true intentions. After leaving the fortress, on his command, the Wreckers spring into action, overwhelming the guards outside. As the Wreckers storm the building, Magnus confronts and captures Shockwave. Although Shockwave tries to remind Magnus of the good bot he once was, Magnus silences him with a single punch. Hoisting Shockwave's unconscious body over his shoulder, Magnus is confident that the brain-altering Imperato procedure will keep him quiet for good. Furious at Magnus's betrayal, Optimus confronts him. Enraged, Magnus roars that he won the war for Optimus before ramming him into his own throne. As Prime falls, the Wreckers watch as Magnus crushes his former leader underfoot, ready to implement the next phase of his plan. My only issue with this issue was that it continuously jumped back and forth between the present and the past without any real indication. But apart from that, this first issue of Shattered Glass 2 was excellent. We only saw a little bit of Ultra Magnus in the first series, and we didn't get to learn a whole lot about what his plans actually were, which left a lot up in the air for the direction they could take his character. And out of all the issues I've read so far, I have to admit that once Ultra Magnus loses his hologram and we get to see his true face, I think he easily has one of the best designs of any Transformer in this series. I also want to note that I found it interesting that we get to see a little bit more about Shockwave being removed from power. The previous origin that we had for Shockwave was that he was removed from power by a secret police that was controlled by Orion Pax. This issue reveals that the secret police Megatron spoke of was actually Ultra Magnus and the Wreckers. Well, let me know in the comments if you guys enjoyed this issue. Don't forget to like this video and sub to the channel for more, and stay tuned for my breakdown and review of issue number 2. I'll see you guys next time.